So students, today we are talking about a particular topic which is important as per your examination, or it can come under the small question and answers, or it can come under like 5 marks. So you should be well prepared for this particular topic, which is the tendons. So we know tendons and the ligaments as the joining tissues in our body. So, what is a tendon? Actually, a tendon, it is a cord of the strong, flexible tissue, which is similar to a rope, and it is connecting your muscle. So, you can very well see in the diagram, it is connecting a muscle to the bone. So, the tendons, they actually are transferring the exact force which is produced by the muscle to the bone. So this is the main function of the tendons. Now, the tendons, they let us like move our limbs. So this is a very simple thing that it helps in the movement of the bones, and ultimately we can move in a particular direction, or we can do some particular work. So they also help in preventing the muscle injury by absorbing some of the impact of your muscles when you take up like a jump, or you run, or you move, or you are in a ground. So then they can help to absorb some of the impacts of the your actions. Now, there can be particular fact that the muscle can directly be going into the bone. This can be one of the conditions. ਪਰ ਦੋਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਕਾਰ ਬੱਚਿਓ ਇੱਕ ਟੈਂਡਨ ਨੇਚਰ ਨੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਇਆ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਖਾਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੈਕਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੈਂਡਨ ਹੈ that is composed of the connective tissue, and the connective tissue has got many fibers. So ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਈਬਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ as such ਇਹ ਫਲੈਕਸੀਬਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੈਂਡਨ ਹੈ, but still ਇਹ ਰਿਜਿਡਿਟੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਸਲਸ ਲਈ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਐਂਡ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਕਨੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦਾ ਇਨ ਬਿਟਵੀਨ ਦਾ ਬੋਨ ਐਂਡ ਮਸਲ। ਐਂਡ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਟੈਂਡਨ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਸਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਟੈਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਜੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਬਣਦਾ, ਅਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਟੈਂਡਨ ਬੋਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਜੁਆਇੰਟ ਬਣਦਾ। Anyhow, so what is a tendon? Actually, it is a strong flexible tissue which is connecting your muscle to the bone. Okay, if I go to the next section. Now your body contains thousands of tendons. So they can be very small, they can be very big in size. Now you can find tendons from your head to all the way down to your toes. So they are spanning whole of your body. Now the Achilles tendon, it is the biggest tendon in the human body. Now this is attaching the calf muscle or the gastrocnemius muscle to the heel bone. So ਬੱਚਿਓ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਡੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਹ join ਕਰਦਾ to the calf bone. So if I show you the diagram of this particular tendon, here you can very well see. So this is the gastrocnemius muscle of the back of your leg, and it is joined by this particular Achilles tendon to the heel bone at the tip of the heel. So this is the biggest, you can say, the tendon inside your body. Next, it is the stretching capacity. Now, how much this tendon can stretch up? What is the flexibility component of this part? So here the tendons, they are highly resistant to tearing, but they aren't stretchy. That means they are not stretching so much. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਹੈ ਬੱਚਿਓ, ਜਿੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਇਹ ਲੈਂਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਉਨੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ। Muscle can stretch up, they can contract, they can relax, but tendons, they are not, and they are not stretching too much. Now this means that they can be easily injured. because they are not stretching. So if your leg is like stretched apart accidentally to a longer distance, so what will happen? The tendon will get injured. Now, as the tendons they get injured in some like sports activity or your running activity, so they may take a long time to heal. So that's why whenever our tendons they get injured, they take longer times to heal up as compared to muscle or like cartilage or ligament. Ligaments again take long time to heal. Uh, Still, here as we are concerned with the tendons, so they are taking longer times to heal as compared to the muscles. So whenever they like get injured, so there is an example of stretching of a point partial tearing of the rope fibers. So if you take an example of a rope, so if we stretch it up, so ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੋਟੇ-ਛੋਟੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਈਬਰਸ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਉਹ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੋਣੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਰੋਪ ਟੁੱਟੇਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਰੋਪ ਟੁੱਟਦੀ ਹੈ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਟੈਂਡਨਸ ਇੰਜਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। So that was the stretching capacity. So they are not stretching like to higher extents. Now, what is the basic function of the tendons? Now, as the tendon is joining a bone to a muscle, so whenever you contract your muscle, what will happen? The tendon will pull the attached bone, causing it to move. So actually that is transferring the tensile force of the muscle to the end of the bone where it is joined. So tendons essentially work as levers to move your bones as your muscles contract and expand. So they are transferring the force. So whenever the muscle is contracted to the full, the maximum tensile force or the TFM, tensile force maximum, will be transferred to that particular part of the bone, and that will cause the maximum load overtaking. So as per the load, more force or less force can be generated by the muscles, and those forces will be transferred to the bones. Now, tendons, they are stiffer than the muscles. They are stiffer. And they have great strengths, as much of the force is like given to the bone by the muscles, so they should be like stronger enough to pull a load up or to drag a force opposite to the direction of the like body movement. So for instance, the flexor tendons, so this is a very good example. So flexor tendons can be in your arms, they can be in your foot. These tendons, they can handle more than 8 times of your body weight. So that means they have a great strength. So ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੱਬਾਂ ਭਾਰ ਜਾਂ ਅੱਡੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਤੁਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਪੱਬ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਤੁਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਪੈਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ, so they can handle more than 8 times of your body weight. So that means they have great strengths. Now, this is a diagram which is showing you the flexor tendons in a foot. Now, if you see this particular longus flexor, so this is known as the flexor hallucis longus. So this is the longest flexor muscle in your foot. Next we have the flexor digitorum longus. So these are the the tendons into your digits, up to your digits. So these are the 4 in number. So this is one flexor hallucis longus. So these can like bear much of your weight of your body. So these are quite strong. Now, we have the location. Now where they are located. Now as we have like gone through the location in the previous part of this lecture also. So they are located all over your body. Like they can be present in your elbows, the knees, the shoulders, the wrists, the feet, everywhere they have got. So they are located all over your body. Now, sizes. Now, tendons, they have different shapes and sizes depending upon the muscles they are attached to. So if they are attached to a like bigger muscle, they can be wider. If they are to the shorter muscles, they can be thin. So suppose we have a sports person, and that is a weightlifter. He has got a huge bicep. So the tendons which are connecting the biceps to the like bone, so they should be thick enough also. So the nutrition that he's taking up is it should be in a sense that it should grow the muscles as well as the tendons also. So the tendons with bigger muscles are wider, and they can be thinner with small muscles. Now, the main thing in the size is that if you have a big muscle, it can produce more tensile forces. That means the tendon should be stronger enough, it should be strong enough to transfer those bigger tensile forces to the bone. Now, there is a concept that if you have a muscle which has got a more broader area, so length doesn't matter of the muscle, but if you have a broad muscle which is more in width, then it can produce more tensile forces. So if you have wider muscles, you should have more strong tendons. Okay, next we have the anatomy. Now anatomy, it involves the internal structure of a tendon when we see it microscopically. So it is composed of a protein which is known as the collagen. So this is one of the most abundant proteins in the body of the humans. Now they are also containing blood vessels and nerves. So here you can very well see, so these are the white fibers, these are some of the elastic fibers which are present. So due to these elastic fibers, the tendons have got some, you can say, capacity to be flexible, but still these are not as flexible as the muscles. So the flexibility is with these elastic fibers. Otherwise, the white fibers, they are not flexible as such. So these are the lamellar cells, the fibrillator cells, and the plasma cells. So these are having the nerves in between. So these are the nerves, and these are also having the blood vessels for profuse supply of the oxygen. So after anatomy, okay, so this is a part about the collagen fibers. Now the collagen fibers, they are flexible to some extent due to the elastic fibers. They are strong and they are resistant to the damage. Now a tendon, it is similar to the structure of a rope with small collagen fibers arranged in bundles. Now this is a very important thing. As we go with the organization of a muscle, muscle has got a special organization. Similarly, the tendons, they are also having a special organization of the collagen fibers in specialized bundles. So there are 3 types of bundles inside a tendon, and now we are going up to that part. So this bundling or bundle formation inside a tendon, it is making it strong. It is making it more stronger. Now, these fibers in a tendon, they can group into 3 types of bundles. Now, the first type, it is the primary fiber bundles. So they are also known as the subfascicles. So these are the smallest bundles which are present in the tendon. Now, then we have the secondary fiber bundles, and they are known as the fascicles. And these are like composed of these subfascicles. So whenever subfascicles they group together, they form the secondary fiber bundles. And ultimately they form the tertiary or the third level fiber bundles, which contain the groups of the fascicles that are forming the tendon itself. So that means that if you like cut the tendon into a transverse section, or you take a TS of the tendon, you can see the tertiary fiber bundles first of all, and they will be containing the secondary fiber bundles, and then it will be containing the primary fiber bundles inside them. Now, these bundles, either they are primary, secondary, or they are tertiary, they are covered with some connective tissue. Now, if you are making a primary fiber bundles, they are covered with connective tissue. When they group together, they form secondary fiber bundles. Now, secondary fiber bundle is also covered with the connective tissue. And same in the case of the third fiber bundles or the third level fiber bundles. Now, after this, I'm just going to the parts of a tendon. Now, if we go with the parts of the tendon, these are the four major parts of a particular peculiar tendon. So, first part is the endotenon. So, students, the endotenon actually it is the connective tissue that surrounds the primary, secondary, and the tertiary fiber bundles. So, I was talking about this particular connective tissue in the upper part. So it helps the bundles glide against each other inside a tendon. So whenever a tendon stretches to some extent, so we have gone through the stretching capacity of the tendon. So there we have gone through that the tendons, they aren't stretchy much, but still the movement of the primary, secondary, and the tertiary bundles laterally or longitudinally, the connective tissue, it helps in the sliding of these bundles inside a tendon, just like in the case of the muscle. Next part, it is the epitenon. So epitenon is a thin layer of connective tissue again that surrounds the entire tendon from the outside. So this is a thin layer of connective tissue which is upon the whole of the tendon. Next, it is the paratenon. So this is again a connective tissue layer which is of a loose kind that lets the tendon move against the epitenon and other tissues that the tendon touches. So paratenon is like to the outside of the epitenon. So this is very simple thing. So inside we have got the endotenons, on the outside we have got the epitenon, and outer to the epitenon we have got the paratenon. Then we have the Sharp's fibers. So here we can write it as like apostrophe S. It is the Sharp's fibers. Now these are the collagen fibers that attach the tendon to the bone. So these are like coming out of the tendon, and now the scientists they are finding that Sharp's fibers, they are penetrating the bone to some extent. So they are coming from the tendon, they are coming out of the tendon, and they are going inside the bones. They are penetrating the bone up to some level, and these fibers, they are the actual connection in between the tendon and the bone. So next is the sheath. So this can be, sometimes this is not taken as a part of the tendon, because these are the fibers or the connective tissues which are the actual part of the tendon, but still this is the synovium sheath. So you must have heard of the synovial fluid inside the joints. So this is the sheath which is present in some of the tendons in the hands and foot. which are having the synovium sheath. So this is the protective outer covering of the tendon, which is present outside the paratenon, and it produces a lubricating fluid which is called as the synovial fluid. So this fluid, actually this is giving a kind of lubrication to the tendon where it can slide smoothly where it meets the muscle and the bone. So this is a kind of flexibility component, or not flexibility basically, this is for the like free movement of the tendon. Now, how do tendons connect muscles to the bones? Now this is a very, very important thing. Uh, like what are the connections which are formed like on both the sides of a tendon? One connection is with the muscle, one connection is with the bone. Now, if we go to the connections, here we have two major connections in the case of the tendons. First connection is the musculotendinous junction or the connection. So, as the name suggests, musculotendinous, that means it is the point where the tendon attaches to your muscle. So it is a connection between a muscle and a tendon. So this musculotendinous junction, it is present on the muscle side, and this is a frequent side of like injury. So it can get injured as the muscle can stretch up more, or in the case of the accident, it can stretch up more, so it can like injure the musculotendinous junction. Next is the osteotendinous junction. So it is with the bone on the contrary. So the point where the tendon attaches to the bone is the OTJ. So these are the two junctions. One is with the muscle, one is with the bone on both the sides. Now students, this is something about the Sharpey's fibers. So as we have like gone with the parts of the tendon, so the Sharpey's fibers, they are the part of the tendon which are extending into the bone, and these are small fluid-filled pads called tendon bursae. So these are the like some fluid-filled spaces which are cushioning the tendons where they meet the bone. So at the junction of the osteotendinous part, so at this particular junction, we have the tendon bursae. So these are small cushions which are giving some flexibility also. So students, this is the actual diagram which is showing you the extent of the Sharpey's fibers which are penetrating into the bone. So this is the part of the bone. These are the Sharpey's fibers, or here it is labeled as the bundle of the collagen fibers which are going into the bone. So here it is labeled as the minerals which are encrusted on the Sharpey fibers. So these are the minerals which are like laid up on the Sharpey's fibers. So this is a part of the bone, and this is the penetration of the Sharpey's fibers into the bone. So this is the example again of the Achilles tendon, which is like joined to the calcaneus bone of the heel. So here at this part, we have the penetration of the Sharpey's fibers into the bone. So this is the actual connection of the tendon with the bone. Okay, next. This is a very beautiful pictogram. It is the pictograph of a typical representative array of three peristonial Sharpey fibers, which are shown in the black arrow. So these are the three Sharpey fibers which are actually penetrating the bone, and each Sharpey fiber is about 15 micrometer thick, and it is extending from the periosteum, which is the P part. So this is the periosteum of the bone, through the bone, B is the bone. This is the periosteum part, the outer part of the bone. And they are penetrating this bone part, B, towards the endosteum, outside which is the marrow cavity. This is the MC, is the marrow cavity. So actually, they are the penetrations of the tendon into the bone. So this picture is taken from the Frontiers in Endocrinology journal, and that is that was published in 2012. So students, I think you have gone with most of the points of the tendons. Now, if you take up these parts in your answer, whenever you get this particular question, I think you can get maximum of the marks. So tendons are basically the connective tissue which is basically joining the muscle to a bone, and that is transferring the tensile forces from the muscles to the bones, which help like in the movement of our limbs. So that was all about the tendons.